Alright guys, 22 best smelling luxury designer fragrances. That's the topic today on the channel. If you want to find out what they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about designer fragrances, luxury designer fragrances. Basically translates to their private collections, their privés, their exclusives, whatever you want to call it. And I've got 22 here. Some bonuses as well. These are my favorites. I really enjoy these. I speak about them all the time, but today's in a ranked video, so you're going to find out what they are and what my number one is. Before I get to the fragrances, if this is your first time tuning in and you still haven't subscribed, please click that subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Before we get started, what are your favorite luxury designer fragrances? Put a comment down so I can find out. But let's get started. At number one, which is actually not number one, the first fragrance at number 22, Nouveau Monde from Louis Vuitton. So Nouveau Monde is a men's fragrance. Most of the fragrances on this collection or in this list are unisex. This one is the men's targeted. Women can totally pull it off. There are unisex fragrances that smell like this from other brands, so you can actually pull this one off, but it does lean very, very masculine. In fact, probably within Louis Vuitton's fragrances, this Nouveau Monde is the most masculine. It's warm, spicy, woody leather fragrance with oud leather, cacao, saffron, rose, olibanum, caramel, vanilla, amberwood. This is probably the most daring fragrance in the Louis Vuitton catalog of fragrances. It is animalic as well, so you got to be into that style, but you got that leather, the oudy, kind of animalic, oudy leather in here, contrasted with warm chocolatey touches. Great smell. I really love this one. It's Nouveau Monde from the house of Louis Vuitton. Moving on to Armani. This is Rose d'Arabie. Only one Armani Privé fragrance has made this list. Not the biggest fan of this collection. I don't know why. I haven't really gotten into it, but there is a bonus fragrance from the collection as well. So Rose d'Arabie is a unisex fragrance, woody rose amber floral fragrance with rose, oud, saffron, patchouli, amber. This is kind of like that black Montals, black oud, Terenzi's, gold rose oud kind of style. Basically, this kind of dry and kind of jammy rose contrasted with patchouli and, of course, oud in this particular fragrance. It does settle to a bit of an amber. Rose d'Arabie at number 21. Moving on to the Gucci Alchemist Garden collection. This is A Song for the Rose. Great smelling rose fragrance. Really, really great. Yeah, it might lean feminine, but it is unisex targeted. I would call this a floral, woody, musky rose fragrance with Bulgarian rose, musk, woody notes. It is a little on the simplistic side, but they do have those oils that you can layer with. It's just a little too much. I think I like this on its own. It smells great. It's a great smelling, kind of a spicy, woody, musky rose fragrance. So it's A Song for the Rose at number 20, and you're going to find out that a lot of my rose fragrances are in the bottom of the list. I'm getting them out of the way, but there are some great ones like this one from the house of Christian Louboutin. This is LOUBICHARME, this one right here. This is a woody Chypre fragrance with incense, rose, geranium, and patchouli. I think this is one of the best ones in this collection, along with another one which is further up in the list. I really like its patchouli Chypre experience with the rose, and then the incense coming in and the geranium. Geranium is a beautiful contrast to the rose, which has this kind of mintiness and also very rosy touches, and it really complements the rose. It kind of brightens up the rose a little bit and makes it a little aromatic, but a great fragrance. This is really great. LOUBICHARME from the house of Christian Louboutin. Let me know if you have sampled those fragrances. Moving on to Gucci once again. It's the Voice of the Snake. This is kind of sort of in line with something like this. This is a Jacques Cavalier created fragrance. Nouveau Monde is a Jacques Cavalier created fragrance. The Voice of the Snake is a Alberto Moria's created fragrance. I think Jacques Cavalier used to work at Firmenich before he started creating fragrances for Louis Vuitton. So some of the fragrances kind of do smell similar, and it reminds me of some of Alberto Moria's fragrances. But Voice of the Snake is definitely unisex. It's very, very masculine. In fact, more masculine, much more than the Song for the Rose. And this is a warm, spicy, woody, earthy fragrance with lots of oud, patchouli, and saffron. There's a little bit of a nuttiness there, and not necessarily overly animalic, but there's some light animalics under there. It's very, very very intense experience, but kind of like a very woody, earthy, oody fragrance. Voice of the Snake at number 18. I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying the change of scenery. I kind of decided to do a different angle in the room, in the studio. I haven't even shot videos in the other parts of the studio yet, so we will do that in the future, or when I do the collection video, which is around the corner. But moving on to number 17, it's Les Sables Roses from the house of Louis Vuitton. This is a really great rosy, oody fragrance, but I think it's more roses, lighter oud, plus there's this kind of like a light aquatic ambergris marine thing running throughout the back, but it's a warm spicy amber floral fragrance with rose, oud, ambergris, saffron, and black pepper. So there's some spices in there, some light leathery touches. It layers perfectly with Ombre Nomade, which will be coming up very soon. Moving on to number 16, going back to the house of Gucci again, it's Hortus Sanitatis. I love this one. It's so unique of a smell. It reminds me of roasted. I keep saying this because that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of like a smoked roses. There's this rosiness here, but very unique, and there's no mention of roses in this particular fragrance, so I don't know where it's coming from, but it's a woody, spicy, aromatic, earthy fragrance with vetiver, papyrus, ginger, and cedar. It smells really great, and I do get that rosiness. I think it's the papyrus working with some of the other notes to create this kind of rosiness in here, but a great smell. It's Hortus Sanitatis, wonderful smelling fragrance. Moving on to the house of Guerlain. Yes, I'm putting Guerlain in this collection. This is Tonka Imperiale at number 15. I have circled back to this and really started enjoying it. I don't know if it's because it's in this new bottle, but I really like the way it smells here than the previous bottle. I don't know if has it been reformulated. I can't really tell. There's something lavendery about it now in this bottle. It's reminding me of lavender and also kind of reminding me a little bit of Fab Delicious too. But this is a sweet vanillic almondy amber fragrance with almonds, tonka, tobacco, incense, jasmine, cedar, and pine. Really great smelling almondy tonka forward, warm, spicy fragrance. I really love it. So it's Tonka Imperiale at number 15. Moving on to Louboutin. Once again, it's Loubi Rouge. This one right here. I hope this is Loubi Rouge. Yeah, this is Loubi Rouge. Because the names of these fragrances are in the bottom. But not on the top whatsoever. You can't see it, and you have to like really look. If I didn't have my glasses, I wouldn't be able to see. So Loubi Rouge is a powdery vanillic fragrance from this house, created by Marie Salamagna over at Firmenich. Once again, we're talking about Firmenich. This is a warm, spicy, powdery iris fragrance with cardamom, iris, and vanilla. So basically, you got lots of spice with the cardamom. It's very aromatic and a fresh spice rather than a warm spice. I find cardamom to be fresh, spicy, rather than cinnamon and cloves to be warm, spicy. Coriander also is very fresh, spicy to me, but it's nice blended with the iris and vanilla. I think she did a great job with this perfumer. It also kind of reminds me of something like Vanille Insensé or another fragrance she's created for Atelier des Ors called Lune Feline. They're kind of in that same ballpark. Even something like Eau de Well from the house of Diptyque, but try Loubi Rouge. It's really delicious. That's from the house of Christian Louboutin, and that's at number 14. Moving on to the house of Celine. This is Black Tie. I guess it's a toss-up between the two. They're kind of in that same ballpark of powdery vanillic experience, but for me, Black Tie is more smoky. I get smoky experience here with Black Tie in comparison to Loubi Rouge, which is more spicy with the cardamom note that's very prominent there. And I don't know where the smokiness is coming from Black Tie, but I'm getting it. But I would call this a vanillic powdery amber woody fragrance with vanilla, orris, cedar, moss, and musk. Most likely it's that moss note that's in here with the cedar, or sometimes woods kind of give you like an incensey kind of a vibe, but there's definitely smokiness here contrasted with the powdery orris, and then of course the vanilla. Really delicious fragrance. Black Tie from the house of Celine is at number 13. Moving on, I've got one YSL Le Vestiaire collection fragrance in here. I haven't really dug into these collections too much yet, but I did want to highlight this one because it does really smell great. It's from the Le Vestiaire collection, as I said, YSL's Tuxedo, this one right here. And Tuxedo is really a great smelling fragrance. It's a unique, warm, spicy, woody amber fragrance with violet leaves, ambergris, coriander, rose, black pepper, patchouli, vanilla. So there's this play with the fresh notes and warm notes in this particular fragrance. Violet leaves, fresh note. Coriander, earlier I was mentioning, it is definitely a fresh spice. You also have the ambergris in here, and the rose brightens up and makes it floral. And then there's the spice of the black black pepper, and then the vanilla, which with its warmth. It's really, really great fragrance. I was surprised how great it is, and that's why it's at number 12. So Tuxedo from the house of YSL at number 12. Moving on to Celine once again. It's the first fragrance I bought from this house. I really love this one. This is Dans Paris, this one right here. A great smelling vanillic powdery sweet gourmand fragrance with vanilla, laurel blossom, musk, coriander, and bergamot. It's that play between fresh aromatic spicy notes of the laurel blossom with the coriander against the vanilla. And the vanilla in here is definitely on the dry side, and I feel like there's also some orris here. If you're curious about Celine's fragrances, they're all very powdery, and I feel like every single fragrance has orris or iris present in the notes, and you can experience it here. But you know, it's a very unique smelling vanillic fragrance, kind of almost like Angelique Noir. That laurel blossom and coriander adds this uniqueness to the kind of sweet, you know, warm vanilla note in here. Dans Paris at number 11. Now this next one, I'm going to the house of Mugler. It's the Less Exceptions collection from Mugler, and I haven't been speaking about this collection because it was kind of up in the air with what was going on here in the States. Recently they had a sale. A friend messaged me and said, guess what, Mugler has a sale, and guess what, Over the Musk was on there. So I picked up a new bottle. It's on its way, and because I am very, very low on this particular fragrance, Over the Musk, one of my favorite, absolute favorite fragrances from the Less Exceptions collection of Mugler. I absolutely really love this one. It's a woody, powdery, musky, spicy fragrance with musk, cashmere wood, ambrette, and black pepper. And I believe this is created by Olivier Polge before he went to work at Chanel as an in-house perfumer after his father left. So he did a great job in this one. It could be him along with another perfumer, but I could also be wrong, but I think he did do this one, and that's one of the reasons why I absolutely love it. It's not very loud, but it's great musky, powdery, kind of a skin scent. And some people say it's not a skin scent to them, and I don't know. That's kind of one of the reasons why I don't talk about performance too much, because people say different things about fragrances, and for me it's not a screamer, but I absolutely love the way it smells because the ambrette note is in here, very, very sexy and very, very musky. Absolutely love it. So Over the Musk at number 10, and go check and see if Mugler still has their fragrances. They didn't have a lot of Less Exceptions fragrances on the website, but I knew I wanted a bottle of Over the Musk because I absolutely love that fragrance, so I ordered it with like a 30% off deal that they had. So moving on to number 9 at the Cartier's high-end collection of fragrances. This is Oud Radeau at number 9. Now I could have put Oud and Mint or Minte on the list, and I find them a little similar to this Oud Radeau with the Oud and Mint. Oud and Minte, I think is how you say it. But the Oud and Mint does remind me of this, but it is a mintier version. But I actually really love Oud Radeau, and I think it smells really, really great. It's a very gingery fragrance. Like if you like the smell of ginger, you gotta get your nose on this because I think it's one of the best ginger fragrances ever. I call this a warm, spicy, woody oud fragrance with ginger, oud, and Sichuan pepper. So Sichuan pepper is a spice. It's kind of like black pepper, but it does have a lemony undertone. So it does have that kind of nice lemony, spicy, peppery kind of experience here, but that ginger, very zingy. It's got a bite, it's got a kick, it's spicy, zingy, and then the oud. That's what it's all about. It's a great smelling fragrance. Oud Radeau at number 9. I have a full review of that one on the channel if you want to go catch that. Moving on to the house of Tom Ford, it's Noir de Noir. Absolutely love this one. It's still a top smelling fragrance for me. It has slipped a little, but I love it. It's a Chypre fragrance, a warm, spicy, earthy Chypre fragrance with rose, patchouli, truffles from under the ground used in, you know, Italian cuisine, saffron, floral notes, vanilla, oud, oak moss, for one of the best smelling rose fragrances. Yeah, it does have some classic stylings. It does have a chocolatiness, truffles, but we're not talking about chocolate truffles. We're talking about earthy truffles, but it's absolutely an amazing smelling fragrance. Anyway, Noir de Noir at number 8 for one beautiful smelling fragrance. Alright, moving on to number 7, going to the house of Chanel, it's Coromandel. Coromandel is such a great smelling patchouli fragrance. I would call this though a warm, spicy, amber, woody fragrance with patchouli, benzoin, and frankincense. Now these are the only notes credited on the Chanel website, but people say there's white chocolate. Yes, the benzoin contrasted with the patchouli is creating like a white chocolatey experience. In fact, a little bit of a regular chocolate even, not necessarily totally white chocolate, but it does create that because it creates this ambery experience against the patchouli. And patchouli already has a bit of a chocolatiness anyway when you combine it with that that benzoin note, it does create this effect, which is such a great smelling fragrance. I feel like this is going to be a great clubbing fragrance as well. If you like that, because whenever I smell patchouli on somebody, I'm very, very attracted to the smell. And if you go out dancing, what's going to happen? The smell is going to project off of you. The warmth of your body is going to make that fragrance come alive. And when you're dancing and people are around you dancing as well, you're going to smell them. And this is going to get a lot of attention. But such a great, beautiful fragrance. If you like patchouli, definitely check this one out. I think it's a really, really great smelling fragrance. It's Coromandel from the house of Chanel at number 7. Moving on to number 6, going to the house of Guerlain once again. This is Angelique Noir. This fragrance is such a gorgeous fragrance. It is a fragrance I fell in love with like in not 19, but 2012. Early on when I was just getting into doing fragrance reviews and things like that. Never really came to it, like really discovered it. But later on I picked up one of those bottles before this particular bottle and I just loved wearing it. But now I have this one and it still smells so great. I would call this a musky, powdery, amber floral fragrance with angelica, vanilla, pear, jasmine, caraway, pink pepper, cedar. Truly one of the best smelling fragrances out there from the designer world. Yes, I'm putting Guerlain in the designer. I just feel like it needs to be in the designer category, but so good. It's such a great fragrance. The angelica and the pear in here do wonders to the vanilla and make it smell very, very unique. Anyway, that's at number 6. Moving on to the house of Tom Ford once again. This is Tobacco Vanille at number 5. This is a very popular fragrance. Another fragrance that I think that would be great for clubbing if you're going out to clubs. I'm thinking of clubbing because I'm kind of bored. I need to go out and do something and listening to some really loud electronic music and dance the night away kind of a thing. But Tobacco Vanille is so good. It's a sweet vanillic amber spicy fragrance with tobacco, vanilla, spices, cacao, tonka beans, dried fruits, and woods. But man, the combination is very intoxicating. It's a spicy experience of the tobacco, dry vanilla, a little fruity, a little chocolatey, lots of spices. Wonderful composition. A great smell at number 5 from Tom Ford. Moving on to number 4, it's Fève Delicious. Yes, as I said earlier, I'm getting like a reminder of Fève Delicious from Tonka Imperial more now in the new bottle than I did before in the older bottle. Maybe it's just a new formulation or just an update or something. And I'm also getting a little lavendery touch in that fragrance, and I do for sure in Fève Delicious as well. Fève Delicious is a warm, spicy, sweet amber fragrance with tonka beans, vanilla caramel, dark chocolate, cherry benzoin, leather, coconut, freesia, and lavender. A great composition, really great, dry, sweet, nutty, bitter, you know, chocolatey a little bit, and fruity a little bit, and of course aromatic and lavender experience as well. Great release. Fève Delicious at number 4 from the house of Dior, from the Dior Privé collection. Moving on to number 3, this is Vanilla Diorama. Yeah, Vanilla Diorama has gone past the Fève Delicious because I really love it. I really love it. You know, I wasn't sure at first when I first got it, but it's grown on me so much, and fragrances can do that. You know, I've circled back to fragrances that I hated before, and it happens because you get to appreciate the smell, or you know, have a newfound passion or excitement for certain fragrances. But Vanilla Diorama is a warm, spicy, woody vanilla fragrance with lemons, orange, pink pepper, cardamom, bourbon vanilla, rum, cocoa, sandalwood, and patchouli. It's like a dessert come to life. An ice cream vanilla cake with some light chocolatiness, booziness, and some citrusy touches. So delicious. Vanilla Diorama at number 3. Can you guess my number 2? You know, some of you hate the fact that I love this fragrance. I don't get it, because you guys send me messages saying, why do you like this fragrance so much? I don't get it. I love it. Le Lion from the house of Chanel is absolutely amazing. I think maybe because it does get animalic and a little ferocious and kind of, you know, too tough to wear, maybe, perhaps. Is that what it is? But this smells fantastic. It's a great smelling amber fragrance, and from a designer, it's awesome. It's awesome. This is a woody, musky, powdery amber fragrance with lemons, bergamot, amber, labdanum, vanilla, patchouli, musk, and sandalwood. It does remind me a little bit of Coromandel. It does remind me a little bit of something like Guerlain's Shalimar. And it also kind of these two kind of remind me of one another. Dior's Vanilla Diorama and Le Lion from Chanel. Not a lot, but there's like light hints. I think it's the citruses. When I get the citruses from Le Lion, in Vanilla Diorama, it reminds me of the citrusiness in Le Lion. But a great fragrance. Absolutely loving it. Deserves a number 2 spot. Le Lion from Chanel at number 2. And my number 1, can you guess it? It's Ombre Nomade from the house of Louis Vuitton. It's so good. Really great. And not only do I like it, I get many positive comments from anyone that actually has worn it or smelled it. People love this particular fragrance, and I think it makes sense because Jacques Cavalier did a great job creating this fragrance. It is more expensive, but it's definitely a great smelling, oody, rosy, spicy, ambery oud fragrance. So this is a warm, spicy, amber, woody fragrance with oud, incense, raspberry, rose, birch, benzoin, saffron, amber wood, and geranium for one great smelling and great longevity experience with this particular fragrance. Absolutely love this one, and I think, yeah, as I said, many people do like it because, you know, it's a great Western smelling oud, but it does smell very expensive. It does smell very rich, and luxe kind of an experience if you like the idea of a Western oud in a fragrance. Ombre Nomade, #1. Only thing is, I'm dying to get my nose on Fleur de Desert. We'll see when I can do that, but soon, hopefully. But either way, that's my list, guys. 22 of the luxury designer fragrances, some of the best smells out there. What are your thoughts on these fragrances, and is there something missing? I'm sure there's something missing. Probably I left it off because I didn't want to feature too many from the same brand, or probably I do not own. But let me know if you have a great smelling or the best smelling luxury designer fragrances in your collection. You know, most of these or all of these are from their privé and things like that, the exclusive lines. I didn't feature any signature lineup in this particular video because that's not the theme. Anyway, guys, let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out if there's anything else I should check out. The one thing I do want to say, in addition to Fleur de Desert, I am dying to get my nose on Baby Cat from the house of YSL. Supposedly it's created by Dominic Ropian, a favorite perfumer of mine, and it's a suede, a gourmand suede fragrance. That sounds really great. Has anyone smelled it yet? Let me know, put a comment down. Either way, I appreciate you tuning in today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. A couple of more fragrances I want to discuss with you. Two from lines I currently own, and two that are actually lines I want to dig into further from brands that not many people talk about. The first one is Rouge Velours from the house of YSL in the Le Vestiaire collection of fragrances. This is such a gorgeous smelling fragrance. In fact, I should have probably put it in the list, the actual list, because now that I'm smelling it, I'm smelling an amazing smell. It's mossy. I'm picking up the moss in here. There's a mossiness about it. The reason is because it's a Chypre floral fragrance, an earthy, woody Chypre floral fragrance with patchouli, rose, pink pepper, jasmine, vetiver, iris, musk, and tea. It's so good. So good smelling. Have you tried Rouge Velours? Try it. I think you're going to enjoy that one. And then one more from the house of Armani Privé. This is Queer Zerzura. Have you tried this one? This is a fragrance that's a leather, but with an irisy, you know, backbone, or I should say the leather is a backbone, and the iris is kind of like the star in this particular fragrance because the leather is a lot, you know, denser. It's more of a base note in this particular fragrance, but it's a woody, powdery, vanillic leather fragrance with leather, iris, vanilla, cedar, elemi, violet leaves. A unique combination. Lightly hints at something like Dior Homme line, more like a Dior Homme Parfum, but very sexy, powdery iris fragrance. Queer Zerzura is a great bonus fragrance. And the two fragrances I'm going to highlight from brands that are lesser known for their luxury collections. First one is Chopard Orange Moresque. Second one is Boucheron's Oud de Carthage. So first let's talk about Orange Moresque. I've featured this in various videos. It's a citrus floral, fresh musky fragrance with orange blossom, bergamot, neroli, mandarin, benzoin, copaiba, ambrox. It's created by Alberto Morillas, and he's done a pretty good job with this. It also has that light undertone of something like smelling like Love Don't Be Shy, because in the end it is the orange blossom and then the neroli with a kind of an ambery base. But it's a great smelling fragrance. So I want to dig into this collection. Never made it here, and I thought I heard in 2019 it was coming to Neiman's, but you know what happened in 2020, so probably just fell apart. But the next collection, the next fragrance from Boucheron, is another collection that's never made it here. I've got this from the discounters. I've seen it at various stores on my travels in Europe. But this is a fragrance created by Dominic Ropian. It's a smoky, leathery, honeyed, amber, woody fragrance with oud, leather, tonka beans, labdanum, honey, and incense. So it's oud with leather And then you got all this kind of like gourmandish, ambery, honeyed experience with that incense running throughout it. So let me know, Oud de Carthage, if you've tried it. Let me know if you've tried the Chopard collection and that Boucheron collection, and what other fragrances are great for you guys, so I can find out. Either way, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for another video tomorrow. Have a good one. Goodbye.